truly a great honor for me to stand before you, to recognize a man who I believe personifies Lincoln's legacy of leadership. A man with unwavering personal resolve who experienced the victories and defeats. Tonight, we honor you, Mr. President, for your lifetime of service in the Lincoln tradition. And we also say thank you. We thank you for leading us and this great country with honor, with humility, and dignity. So it is my great honor to present the 2019 Lincoln Leadership Prize to the 43rd President of the United States, the Honorable George W. Bush. Ladies and gentlemen.
Clearly, too much wine has been served. John, thank you very much for the kind introduction. If I'd have known you were so eloquent, I wouldn't have put you on the Historic Preservation Board. I'd have made you speechwriter. Anyway, I'm proud of our friendship. John is a great citizen of the state of Texas, and I'm honored to be here to present this award. I want to thank the jury for selecting me. I'm not sure I'm deserving, but I'm willing to accept. And thank you all for coming to support the Presidential Museum down there in Springfield. I am a big believer in presidential centers, particularly mine. I want to thank Carla and Alan Lowe. Alan used to work with us in Dallas, and when he said he's leaving for the Lincoln deal up in Illinois, I said, well, you know, they're going to benefit from your presence. And I know they have, and thank you for being here. I want to thank the governor for being here, JB. Sounds like he's from Texas. And MK. They believe in initials in the Pritzker family. Anyway, Governor, thank you for being here. I appreciate your service. I hope you enjoy being as governor as much as I do, although I don't think you will, because our legislature only met 4 months out of every 2 years. Speaking about governors, my old friend and friend of Mother and Dad's, Jim Edgar, is here. Jim, thank you for coming. Glad and I understand that Governor Pete Ricketts is here. The Cubs were just in town in Dallas, and yeah, 2 out of 3. Anyway, I really am pleased to be here. One of the things I think is important for a place like the Lincoln Center is to preserve history without rewriting it to conform to the times. And I believe that's what you do, and you do well. Karen Condi mentioned that there was a portrait of Lincoln on the wall in the Oval Office. I tell people all the time when I explain the portraiture that I had 41 in my heart, but I put 16 on the wall. I learned a lot at my presidency during Lincoln. I mean, I read probably 15 biographies of Abraham Lincoln. People said, we paid you all that money and all you did was read about Lincoln? I said, well, I didn't watch Dancing with the Stars. It was a fascinating aspect of the job to be making history and reading history, particularly about Abraham Lincoln. And so I thought I would share some of the lessons that I learned. It'll apply to every president. So in order to be a president, you have to have a set of principles that don't change because of a Gallup poll. Abraham Lincoln talked about all men are created equal under God. In this day and age, everybody says, so what? I mean, that's a given. It wasn't a given in 1863. It was like politically unpopular. It had been so much more convenient to say, well, maybe not all of us are equal. Or maybe there's not a God, but not Abraham Lincoln. He not only expressed the belief, he acted on it. He believed freedom was universal, that it was deep in the soul of every human being is a desire to be free. A principle relevant in 1863 and very important in 2019 and 2018. A job of the president is to look beyond the horizon and to have an optimistic view. I mean, nobody wants to follow somebody who says, vote for me, the world will be worse. Abraham Lincoln had great vision. I think he made one of the great presidential decisions ever, and that was to preserve the Union, to keep the Union intact. He led with malice toward none in a very divisive age. The reason why, see, you're never judged on decisions that you don't make. In other words, what would have happened had Lincoln said the South can go its own way for economic purposes? Here's what would have happened. The next regional dispute would have arisen, say silver in the far west, and all of a sudden you'd had a northern group of states, a southern group of states, a western group of states. We had ended up looking like Europe, not the greatest force for good ever, the United States of America. Lincoln's legacy. Lincoln should teach presidents how to be a good commander-in-chief. No president wants to be a wartime president. Lincoln certainly didn't, but as one, he not only met with the generals, and by the way, didn't get his mix of generals right from the beginning. You know what I mean? But he spent a lot of time with the privates. I marveled at the letters and his decisions on the letters he got about young privates asking to be not convicted of treason because they went home to help a widowed mother till the soil. Lincoln was empathetic. Here's the lesson. Anytime a U.S. soldier is in harm's way, the commander-in-chief must insist that they be given all that is necessary to support them and their families in order to complete the mission. So, Edgar reminded me when Laura and I opened the museum, and by the way, it's a beautiful facility. He reminded me that I was struck by the exhibit where Lincoln was harshly criticized. I said, wow, man, if they're going to criticize that guy. Why am I worried about it? He handled the criticism with such grace. He didn't respond in kind. He showed that good leadership rises above the noise and sets a positive moment for the country. I was struck by this from a New York Times article about Abe Lincoln. It said, it was not the Constitution of the English language and the laws of English grammar that he was called upon to swear to support and enforce. In other words, he had a little trouble with the language occasionally. Yeah, so Lorne Michaels came down to visit. He's a Saturday Night Live guy. And we had an exhibit of presidential humor at the Bush Center, and he was there. Of course, I was the butt of most of the jokes. Anyway, Laura and I took him out to dinner. And he said, Mr. President, I just want you to know that I put my best speechwriter on you when you were president. And he's the guy that came up with strategery. I said, no, man, I said strategery. He said, nope, you never said strategery. I said, you gotta be kidding me, for 17 years? I thought I said strategery. He said, no, we put it on you. And I said, well, let me ask you this, did that smart guy come up with misunderestimate? Now I said keep it to 5 minutes. Finally, Lincoln should teach presidents a lot about the reach of history. Abraham Lincoln never got to see the benefits of his wisdom or hard work. And that happens to a lot of presidents. There needs to be the reach of time for history to fully analyze and appreciate the decisions made of a president. And the amazing thing about Abraham Lincoln is that history is still unfolding for this great president. And I'm honored to receive the award that you've given me. And I hope that I continue to uphold the high standard that Abraham Lincoln set in life. God bless you.